Today, what Coach Jim Harbaugh can teach us all about how to talk to yourself. michaelmclean.coach. Welcome to my daily mental kick in the pants rant, my locker room 6 a.m. broken iPhone video. You can subscribe for free at michaelmclean.coach. I am a ex-professional hockey coach, ex-amateur team owner, been in the hockey business for 22 years, turned 8-figure entrepreneur. In these daily broken iPhone videos, I talk like I talk in the locker room as a coach, the way I basically addressed issues as a pro and amateur coach. So michaelmclean.coach. In the theme of a locker room, one of my all-time favorite college and professional football coaches, Jim Harbaugh, has landed back in the NFL with the LA Chargers. That's a massive hire for a mediocre franchise. The guy brings instant credibility. What I love about Harbaugh, his brother, his father, I love how those guys eat, sleep, and breathe football. I love their passion. I love their obsession. I don't care what people say about Harbaugh, whether you like him, whether you dislike him, whether you think he's a rule bender or a cheater. The guy is a massive self-promoter. He is an incredible recruiter and an outstanding coach. His track record speaks for itself. Whether you like Harbaugh or dislike him is irrelevant to the things that we can learn from every person we meet in this world. Like my pop always says, you can learn from every person, son, that you meet in this world. So open mind is really important. Jim Harbaugh, language. The great Bruce Lee is my favorite person when it comes to this topic. And Jim Harbaugh's press conference the other day with the Chargers reminded me of the critical importance of how we talk to ourselves. This is a concept that I pounded into the heads of my elite mastermind members over the last year and a half. How you speak to yourself, the language that you use on a daily basis, how you speak to yourself, how do you speak to other people, is so important when it comes to winning, when it comes to influence, when it comes to persuasion, when it comes to mental health, mental toughness. The words you use to talk to yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, literally create your life. And when I would meet a person, whenever I meet an entrepreneur, a small business owner, anybody that's struggling, the number one thing I notice with somebody who's struggling in an area of their life is how they talk to themselves. Because words become ideas, ideas become visions, and visions become what? Behavior. You think about it, you say it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is why I'm such a big how you talk to yourself person. And in our home, my wife Krista, my daughter Emery, I've literally deputized both of them. And now it's just automatic. When they hear me, we call it cussing in our house. We don't have the ordinary and regular cussing that other people have. There's swear words in our home that I've deputized them to always let me know when I'm cussing. Words like try, words like maybe, words like if, words like can't. And we have a long list of these weak-ass words. And whenever my daughter especially hears me say something like, well, I'm going to try that, and if this works out, or we can't do that, she is all over it. And she's like, Daddy, there's no such thing as can't. There is only I will. I will walk. I will write. I will train. I will eat clean. I will make $100,000 a month. I will. And it's amazing when you deputize people in your badass world, it really helps you clean up what I call loser language. So Harbaugh's press conference, and most people would have missed this, but I'm always watching great coaches and great leaders, great founders and business owners, and I'm always listening, especially at press conferences. Most people are trying to learn about the team or the strategy. I have no interest in that at all. When I see a Nick Saban or a Bill Belichick or a Jim Harbaugh or Andy Reid, when I hear them at the podium, those guys are such incredible communicators. They're using the media to send a message every time to their players, because their players are where? Their players are on their phones. They're in the swamp of rat poison, the social media. So they hear what coach says. So these next level coaches, you can see it in their press conference. They answer the question the way they want their players to hear it. It's just another vehicle for them to communicate to their athletes. So when Jim Harbaugh has his introductory press conference the other day in Los Angeles, this is a guy who has literally studied and reviewed and painstakingly picked every word that came out of his own mouth. Because what's that press conference? That press conference is his first team meeting. He's literally setting the tone with the ownership, with potential coaches, with the fan base, with the city, and of course, with his players. That's the first time they're hearing from new Coach Harbaugh. So words matter. And he just did a 9.5 out of 10 press conference. Didn't matter what the question was. He would tailor it to the message he wanted to send to his players, to his coaches, to the fans. But the one quote that really got me was that he had the brass balls to speak clearly, clear as kind. A lot of these weaker coaches, you know, politically correct, cliches, they never want to give anything. They never want to tip their hand. And they're boring as hell, stale, dull, and boring to listen to. But not Harbaugh. I mean, he's talking about, you know, parking his RV down at the ocean and getting started on the job. He's talking about the old Jim Rockford files. He's talking about all this interesting stuff. But the quote that really nailed it when it comes to how you talk to yourself and also the message that you're giving out there to the universe, to your team, to your players, to your employees, is they asked Harbaugh, one of the reporters asked Harbaugh, what's his expectations for the LA Chargers? And this is where most regular coaches, even NFL level coaches, they flinch. They flinch. They don't have the brass to speak candidly, and they say, well, I'm not going to make any predictions. It's a process. We're just going to work to get better every day. It's like, holy fuck. If that's not politician talk, I don't know what it is. But not Harbaugh. That's not the message he wanted to send to his players. He sent the message that there's a new sheriff in town. All the greats send the message that there's a new sheriff in town. He's there to clean up the mess. The country club days are over. So the reporter says, what are your expectations? So he doesn't duck He doesn't duck the question like some cupcake. He's like, multiple championships or die trying. Man, I love that answer. If I'm a fan, if I'm a season ticket holder, if I'm a long-suffering Chargers fan, if I live in that city or near that stadium, if I play, if I'm a potential player, if I'm a draft pick, if I'm a corporate sponsor, I just grew 2 feet. Multiple championships or die trying. And he's not promising anything. He's just promising that they're going to do whatever the hell they can do to give themselves the best chance to win every year. But that brass balls vocabulary and messaging, that's messaging to himself, to his assistant coaches, his coordinators. Hell, it's a message to the owner who hired him. If there's any buyer's remorse giving a guy that much money, all that stuff goes out the window. What are your expectations? Multiple championships or die trying. Do you think you hired the right guy? Damn straight. And it's just such a message of enthusiasm and passion and obsession to your fan base, to your players, to your coaches, to the city. You know, there's a new sheriff in town. But see, the press conference reminded me of how much words matter, how you talk to yourself. And the great Bruce Lee said it best. Never, ever, ever talk negatively to yourself. I don't care what the circumstances are, because your brain, your conscious and your subconscious can't tell the difference. I'm going to say that again. That's so important. Okay, you never, ever, ever, ever talk negatively to yourself. Whether it's self-depreciating humor, whether it's just toxic words, whether it's, you know, maybes and ifs and tries and can'ts and we'll see. That stuff, your subconscious and your conscious, your brain doesn't know the difference. When you tear yourself down one word at a time, your brain doesn't know that you're joking. Your subconscious and conscious doesn't know. And then it plays the movie accordingly. Every person I've worked with that struggles with language in that area of their life. Well, I've never been a marketing person. I have a friend who says that every day. Well, you know what? Every day he emphasizes that self-image. He promotes that inner belief. And here we are 10 years later and he's still not a marketing person. Instead of saying to himself, I will become an astute marketer. I will study direct response. I will study marketing. Instead, he just limits his life and his belief, and he emphasizes that identity is, well, I'm not really good at marketing. And that just shows you the difference between language. Well, I'm not really athletic. I don't go to the gym and I don't feel comfortable at the gym and I'm not coordinated and I'm not strong and all of this. It's just, I call that burying yourself in BS, in your own BS. Language matters. Language matters. So with my masterminds the last year and a half, it doesn't matter what area the person's struggling in. It all goes back to how they talk to themselves. Well, I'm gonna try and get to the gym, and I'm gonna try and eat better, and I'm gonna try copywriting and all this other stuff. And as soon as you hear those words, right, those cuss words, try or maybe, or you just any of that stuff, you know that they have no chance to win. There's a couple of things that really stick out too. I've seen it with my hockey players and with my employees. I've seen it personally with myself earlier in my life, is when a person is self-depreciating. It's a coping mechanism, right? You know people that are sarcastic, they constantly make fun of themselves. and they can't take a compliment. Don't be that person. Okay, when somebody says something to you, when somebody gives you an attaboy or a pat on the back or a genuine compliment, the only thing you have to say is thank you. That's it. Thank you. Well, I heard you won the Barclay Cup and you guys had a great season. Thank you. Oh, I hear you had a successful campaign webinar the other day. Yes, we did. Thank you. I hear that you've lost 15 pounds already this year and you're going to the gym regularly. Yes, I am. Thank you. I hear you're eating better. Yes, thank you. I hear that you stopped drinking a couple years ago. Yes, it was life-changing. Thank you. Instead of tearing yourself down and apologizing for somebody giving you a compliment, instead of being passive-aggressive, just smile, say yes, and say thank you. And stop tearing yourself down. Self-depreciating language and self-depreciation humor, I don't want anybody working for me that's like that. I don't want anybody coaching who's like that. I don't want to be around anybody like that. A person who pretends it's humor and they tear themselves down. So the question is, what words do you have in your daily life that need to go? What words and phrases do you have with your queen, your kids, your grandkids, your employees? What toxic words do you have that you consistently say to yourself hour after hour, day after day, year after year, that are literally destroying your dreams and your goals? Do you have the word can't in your vocabulary? Do you have the word maybe in your vocabulary? Do you swear to yourself all the time by using the word try? Maybe, try, could, should. Should is a cuss word. I banned all these words from my hockey locker rooms. I banned them from my businesses. I banned them from my own home. But most importantly, I banned them from my own vocabulary. Okay, and you'll see me self-correct even on videos like this where I'll say something, I'll cuss and say something like, and we're gonna try, and I'll stop myself and say, we will. So even to this day, I'm always self-correcting. I'm always self-correcting myself because language matters at most. Like the late great Bruce Lee said, never, ever talk negatively to yourself. Your brain, your mind doesn't know the difference. So words are very powerful, and how you talk to yourself is incredibly important. I'll share with you one more story from my personal life. And I didn't know how important this was to my queen and to my daughter until I saw the Harbaugh press conference last week, where I was like, man, Michael, take it up a notch, okay? Words matter. How you talk to yourself matters. So I've gotten into this habit, and I wrote about this in a newsletter a few months ago. As soon as my eyes open at 5:59 in the morning, my feet hit the ground, I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, feet on the floor, I pray for 3 minutes, gratitude prayer. Then I go in the bathroom and I splash some water on my face, I brush my teeth. My clothes are laid out, I put them on, and I'm downstairs to drink 2 glasses of water, which are waiting for me on the counter. But here's the thing. My 11-year-old daughter, Emery, is already up. She's already up. She gets up usually a few minutes before me, so she's downstairs. So no matter what, because Krista, my wife, is still sleeping, as soon as I'm out of the bedroom and as soon as I'm out of earshot, I always say the same thing. And I know my daughter's downstairs with the light on reading. She starts her day by reading 20 pages. That's just the way she does it. the first thing I do is I yell, hip, hip, and you'll hear her little voice, hooray, and then I always give it another 10x, hip, hip, and then you'll hear her 5 times as loud, hooray, and then I walk by her, she's sitting on the couch reading, I walk into the kitchen, and I drink my couple glasses of water. That's how I greet my daughter every day of my life. 2 hip, hip, hoorays. And you can see her come to life. You can see her sit up. You can see her body language change. You can see that I'm giving her energy. You can see that she's getting energy, and she's just, you know, it's an amazing positive pattern interrupt. So, you know, I drink my water, I put on my rucking vest, and I grab my camera, my phone, broken phone here, and I put on my clothes and I head out for my walk. And by this time, it's been 10, 15, 20 minutes. Krista's already upstairs. She's getting ready in the bathroom. She's brushing her teeth, all that stuff. And then as soon as I close the door, whether it's in Canada, whether it's here in Naples, I'm walking out. Our bedroom window is always open about this because we love fresh air. Doesn't matter if it's in the winter or in the summer, we always sleep with our bedroom window open. I love the fresh air. It's so good for you. And I'm just about to take my first few steps. Outside I go, and I always look up at the window and I always go, woo! And for those of you that don't know, if you don't know, that's the Ric Flair, the famous wrestler Ric Flair, one of the greatest promoters of all time, sports entertainment, and that's his trademark woo. And I just think it's a powerful thing, right? So here I am in the darkness of 6 a.m., 6:20, whatever time it is, and I'm always walking out the door and it's woo! And 9 times out of 10, doesn't matter if it's a Sunday morning or a Tuesday morning, my wife Krista, who's now up, will lean out the window from brushing her teeth or whatever she's doing and go, woo! The same thing. So language matters, energy matters, attitude matters. And that's the way we start our day at the McLean Ranch. And it's odd and it's strange. And I never even think about it because it's just normal for us. But if somebody was next door, a neighbor, they must think we're nuts here in Naples. You know, my neighbor, Tom Burns, he loves this stuff. So he'll hear me give a woo at 6 in the morning, and he'll be next door coming back from his walk or heading to the gym, and he'll give me one. And it's just an energy and the way you talk and the way you think that makes such a difference. So my daughter starts with that shot of energy. My wife starts, I don't care what kind of a morning you're having. If somebody walks up and gives you energy like that. The other thing that I'm in the habit of doing, and I didn't really know how valuable it was until I watched the Harbaugh press conference, but I get up every morning and sometimes Krista's awake and she's getting ready to get up. And I always say the same thing after I have my clothes on and I'm standing beside the bed and I'm getting ready to head downstairs. I always say, huge day. I don't know why I even say it. I'm just like, huge day. So no matter what I'm thinking or Krista's thinking, that's the first words out of my mouth for the day. Huge day. And then after I go downstairs and do my hip hip hooray with my daughter, 9 times out of 10, I always say to Emery, massive day, massive day. And she'll always say, you know, what's on today or something like that. And I'll look at her and I'll say, more winning. And she always has a massive grin. It always makes Krista smile. They think they know I'm a lunatic, right? They know I'm a lunatic. So it gets a smile, it gets people sitting up, it gets people giving energy, It changes somebody if they woke up on the wrong side of the bed or they're tired. There's nothing like giving energy. But that goes back to how you talk to yourself. Think of those words, massive day ahead. Not only am I saying that to Emery, I'm saying it to myself. Huge day, huge week ahead. I'm not just saying that to Krista, I'm saying that to myself. When people ask me all the time, I used to tell this story with my mastermind guys about Charlie Tremendous Jones. And Charlie Tremendous Jones was one of the most famous inspirational, motivational speakers back in the day. Think Tony Robbins on a smaller scale. And the reason that Charlie's nickname was Tremendous was the fact that every time somebody asked Charlie, "How are you today, Charlie?" his answer was always the same: tremendous. He'd knock people on their ass back in the 70s by saying that. Imagine today, people stunned and scrolling on their iPhones and checked out, sedated, medicated, mentally lost. "How are you today, Michael?" Tremendous. My Champions Mastermind member, Stephen Ivanko, took this on this year in the Mastermind, and anytime somebody asks Stephen how he's doing, it's always the same: tremendous. And I asked him, I said, "How, and what's the reaction?" He said, "It's always a knock them off on their ass kind of, wow. It makes somebody's day, it gives energy. They actually listen and say, oh, I'm fine. Fine like sandpaper. Who would listen? All that horse shit. Tremendous, outstanding, grateful." Next time somebody asks you how you are, answer the fucking question, and answer it with an attitude of gratitude. Answer it with life is a gift mindset. Tremendous, outstanding, couldn't be better. The best is yet to come. That's a saying that just comes to mind now. My dad and mom are both 90 years young. And I was talking to my dad the other day. He's 90 years old, young. And there is young, right? 90 years young. That's how he says, "I'm 90 years young." I've never heard my dad say I'm 90. I've never. It's always, "I'm 85 years young." And then it was, "I'm 90 years young." There you go, language, right? Never heard that man in my life put himself down. I've never ever heard him make a joke about himself. I've never heard him do any of that cupcake poodle self-depreciation. None of that stuff. Just always, always, always speaking to himself with respect. "I'm 90 years young." 90 years young. Wow, that's a good one right there. I never even thought about that one. How he even explains his age. "I'm 90 years young, Buckshot. I'm 90 years young." So, wow, language matters. So there's some examples from my life, some stories. But just keep in mind, oh man, it's important how you speak to yourself. So this coming week, do what I do, and that's be cognizant, be mindful of the way you talk to yourself. What's the first thing you say in the morning to your queen and your best friend, ride or die partner? What are the first words that your children, your teenagers, your adult children hear? What's the first things that you write to somebody? What do your employees hear? The person at Dunkin' Donuts, I stopped myself today. I was walking in there at little after 6 this morning, and for some reason it was pouring rain out, and I'm walking in, I stopped about 50 feet from the front door. The staff's in there, they're tired and they're just getting their day going. And I stopped myself and I checked my energy. I checked my body language. I was like, I didn't have good body language. I checked my breathing, it was shallow. I checked my face, I wasn't smiling. And I took a deep breath, I put my shoulders back, I put my chin up, I put a smile on my face. I said to myself, attitude of gratitude. My cup runneth over. You kidding me? The best part of my day, going in there after my walk and getting a piping hot cup of coffee and getting back in my vehicle and going to read, doesn't get any better than that. put a smile on my face. I grabbed that door handle and I brought as much energy into that room as I could. Big smile. The manager was behind the till at the time because they were just opening. And I just gave her a big smile and a good morning. And she knew my order. There you go. How people making yourself memorable. She poured the cup of coffee. I gave her a big cash tip. And that's how I started her week and how I started my week. I just, you know, like I gave energy. I wasn't a vampire. I wasn't a time vampire or an energy vampire. Good morning, smile. And she asked me how I was. I said, outstanding. And I was basically her first customer of the day. So just shows you how you talk to yourself is critical. How you talk to your queen, your kids, your employees. Are you somebody who walks in and sucks the life out of the room? Or are you somebody who walks in and it's just like, wow, giver of energy? And most importantly, how you talk to yourself every single day. I think that your life could do with a few more hip hip hoorays. Maybe your life could do with a more woos and huge day and massive day. You think this stuff is woo-woo? You think this is all, you know, oh yeah? How you talk to yourself makes visions and memories, and those visions, they become your behavior. They become your behavior. You talk small, you're gonna have a small life. You talk large, you're gonna have a great life. And I'm not talking about Tony Robbins woo-woo at all. I'm talking about the way you talk to yourself. I can do this. I will do this. We will do this. And when you give a compliment, give a specific compliment. Outstanding job. I love the way you angled that player off into the corner without taking a penalty. That's a strong, strong play. Well done. Versus good job. When I'm coaching hockey or I'm coaching tennis or I'm coaching marketing or I'm coaching money making, a firm compliment with specific details. That's a great job on your first newsletter. I love the personality, 70% personality. I love the cartoons. I love the family photos. I love how you put yourself out there. The best is yet to come. Stay at it. Fantastic job. Same thing. You got your first email out. You sent the email to 17 people because you're just building your list. Fantastic job getting started. The start stops most. Outstanding job. Love the email. Great job with the subject line. It was a gun to the head subject line. Great job going into a personal story. And great job with the close at the end, selling a product that's going to help them transform their lives. Fantastic job. Keep doing it. It gets better, a little bit better every single week. Keep up. Good job. Massive consistency. Well done. See the difference? How you talk to yourself and how you talk to people. Specific with your compliments. So remember how important language is. Remember how important it is how you talk to yourself, the words you use, how you talk to yourself, your queen, your kids, your employees. And let's make sure we're working over the next few weeks to clean that up, to make sure you're talking like Jim Harbaugh was talking to his players. What do you want to accomplish? Multiple championships or die trying. God, I don't mind that mindset one bit. 2 words that have changed my life, 2 words that can change your life. Language. Be relentless.